Peace, love, and prosperity, Savvy Soul Tribe. It's time for some Savvy Studies. Okay, February 22nd, 2022. Where I'm at right now, it is currently 6:45. Okay, and Spirit has been speaking to me. I've decided that it's very important for me, you, and I to meditate on faith. Okay, I want each of you to meditate on faith, and I want you all to do your own journal reflection on what faith is, what it means to you, what it feels to you, what comes to mind, and this might take some time, so don't feel obligated to produce something quickly. Meditate on it and allow it to come to you. Allow things to be revealed to you. Allow yourself to see self within faith. Okay? There's a lot to learn from this. I realized that in reflecting on faith within self, I am a teacher of faith. And that goes really, really deep. And I'm still learning the depths of it. So bear with me as I share with you. As I studied faith and I looked into outer definitions, it meant complete trust or confidence in someone or something. And so I had to consider within self, what person, place, or thing do I have complete trust or confidence in? What person, place, or thing do I have complete trust or confidence in? This is something that I want each of you to think about and consider within this present space and time in your life. I also identified that faith from an outer view would mean strong belief in God or in the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehensions rather than proof. So that one right there kind of challenged the inner me, because when I look at strong belief, I see a lie in belief. So that I know, right? That my perspective must change. Perspective being my point of view. My angle is my angel. So what I see is what I'm going to gain here from this choice of view, because I see that, again, strong belief in God. So strong belief within seeing that, I can see the word lie present. So I know. So what I'm saying that is, within me, I would have to revise that definition and define for self. And in that case, it would be that faith is in self. God, I am. Right? Not in any doctrines or outside religions. However, religion to self is how I do something, right? My rituals, my practices is my religion. So my rituals and my practices are a part of my state of being. And that's what keeps me in tune. That's why it's a practice. Something that I have to continue, right? And this lets me know that faith is one and the same. Strong knowing in the God I am, nothing outside of me, aware of my practices, my rituals, right? And so then going back to the outer view, it expressed that the doctrines of religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. Spiritual apprehension rather than proof, right? So that would sense me to go and define and see more into spiritual apprehension, because it says rather than proof, and proof is that's what makes it physical, and that is I in this meat suit. So this is what I mean when I tell you guys to define for self. This is how I go in and define within self. What is faith? Meditate on faith. I am a teacher of faith. So this is how I define and learn more about what I am, how I am, the practices, and my measurements of mastery towards it all. You understand? Moving more into it though, trust, right? We mentioned trust, complete trust. And seeing that trust in self, trust in the God I am. So trust or confidence is what we mentioned. Trust or confidence. So I want to go and define for self trust. And I also want to define for self confidence. So those are things that I'm saying and recommending for you to do as you meditate and contemplate and review faith within self. Okay? Savvy soul confirmation, spiritual conversations, and savvy self studies. Okay? Thank you guys for staying updated. Thank you guys for staying in tune. I appreciate each and every single one of you, and I thank you for being present and patient as we learn to move through all of these spaces of existence. Okay? So moving into it a little bit deeper, trust. Trust is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. Trust is firm belief. There goes that word again, belief. Now you have to define for self what belief is to you, but I know that as I see lie rest in between, just like the nose, right? The bridge. So that's where I cross inner self to see that the trust is within me. It's the reliability, truth, the ability, and or, because I self God. So and or, strength of I, right? So that's how trust gets broken down from their outer view to my inner view, my translation, right? This is speaking for itself, speaking for thyself, myself, right? Trust is an arrangement whereby a person, a trustee, holds property as its normal owner for the good of one or more beneficiaries. A person, a trustee. That's where an arrangement is made. So the arrangement is between, that's the nose, that's the bridge, that's the cross, the you and I, the outer and the inner view. And I had to know when to move in order to receive the trust within. You understand? So the trust is within. And when we get into nationality, you start learning about the trustee, right? And this is where you guys just heard hold property, because the property is the physical, this meat suit, this body presenting I, self, God, here before you now, right? I hope this is making sense. If it's not making sense, play it back, slow it down, take your time. Trust. Okay? It all starts inner you. And you seek outside of self. That's where I, Saviel, present, reflect to you, me, which is why I meditate on faith, me being a teacher of faith. As I measure the mastery of myself, I share with you. And sharing with self, I need for you to identify within you what is faith. Meditate on faith. You do the same. And in doing the same, I want you to journal, review, and reflect on faith inner you. And you can utilize this outer view as a guideline, but translate so that it makes inner sense. Incense, right? The aroma, the nose, the bridge, so that you receive, you inhale. Breathe in, hold God's breath. Hold God's breath. You are aware of the I, the faith holder, right? So going back to the trustee, the holder of the property, right? So the body that holds thy faith, that holds thy trust, that holds thy reliability, thy truth, thy ability, and or strength, right? Who is that? That is I. You identify for self, right? What I speaks. Lower I, capital I, I-E-Y-E, I, matey, right? Language, translations, outer view to the inner you. You got to understand thyself, to know thyself. So let's keep going. A trustee, a holder of property, an owner for the good of one or more beneficiaries. And it's interesting, one or more, because we say when two or more are gathered, one or more has to be acknowledged, right? One or more, because there's the outer, this flesh, this meat suit that I put trust in. The trust is inside of me, the inside of me, right? The inside of me is the holder of this body. The body is not the holder is the owner. So the body is not the owner of what's within me. What's within me is the owner of thy body. So you got to know who the trustee is, the inner or outer. And that is for you to determine and for you to understand and create within self this awareness, this understanding, this arrangement, this agreement, right? Because bottom line, this is where it leads to credit. In order to get to the credit line and to understand credit, you got to understand faith. And in to understand faith, you got to understand trust. You got to understand trust. Trust is what's going to lead you to the credit. And the credit is a whole line. And the line is what shows the rhythm, the beat, the movement, right? And movement is energy and currency. So we're going to get to that in a minute. Hold tight, right? So rolling back a little bit, going in on faith, as we went in on faith, complete trust is what we looked at, but we also have to acknowledge confidence. We couldn't leave out confidence when looking at faith, because confidence is required in order for faith to show itself. Bottom line, right? Confidence is the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. Firm trust. So now this goes a little bit deeper. The trust goes deeper. This makes you have to really go and meditate on trust. But right now we meditate on faith, right? And we got to really understand with all senses, with all elements, faith. So we can see a law of corresponding, a correlation between faith, trust, and confidence. And there's a line created, an arrangement between one or more, two or more. Now it's funny because, again, highlighting that one or more creating two, dualities, and we know that masculine and feminine is also within you. So within you two must be acknowledged. That is to honor thy mother and thy father. You see, this is how you gain credit. This is how, before you even get to the credit line, these are the requirements. You understand? So now, confidence is the feeling to feel. That's something that you want to define for yourself. How do you feel? You know, some people say, don't let your feelings control you. Don't let your feelings Or how do you feel? Because depending on how you feel is going to be dependent on the outcome. So feeling has a connection to, and when we dive into feeling, then we must address the law of cause and effect. I just want to highlight the law of cause and effect, and I'm going to make note there myself, the law of cause and effect. And if you didn't catch it, we also mentioned the law of correspondence. And you guys saw how I applied the law of correspondence, because as I'm looking at faith, I had to acknowledge trust and confidence. I had to address the requirements. Okay. So now belief is here again in looking at confidence. So again, the lie is the bridge that I have to see in between as I look outside of self and I see it as written here, as I self-study me, you, and we. You understand? So what they're saying is that one can rely on someone or something, but we already have determined that what is to be relied on is self, because the trust had to be inner self. The two or more were already within you. So the agreement, the witness, the notary, the stamp, the seal can be acknowledged. Okay? Creating the credit line. Addressing all requirements. Right? Now, we left off at firm trust. Firm trust being the actual line that we're addressing. The state of feeling certain about truth. How do you know something is true? That's something that I want each of you to ask yourselves. How do you know something is true? And I'm going to write that down as a question for myself as well. How do I know when something is true? And that's going to take time for me to meditate, reflect, and review on, because it's going to make me have to tap into my senses and identifying the signals, the things stimulated within me that show that I know, that have been reflecting and witness, and I know myself to know what shows me truth to be. You understand? So how do you know when something is true? Faith is what we're studying right now, and we're about 18 minutes into this. So moving further into it, we're going to move into self-assurance. Spirit brought me to self-assurance because self-assurance is where confidence comes from. It comes from self, and I must be insured within self. People ask, do you have insurance? And my insurance is not outside of self. Some people operate in that system and in that program. I choose not, because I see and I know that I, God, be present, that the trust started and began within me because of my ability to stand, to be faith. I'm the mustard seed itself. I'm the sand. I'm the atom. I'm the body. It's me. And I had to acknowledge inner source. And there I saw two or more gathered, the dualities within me. And through this, I was able to address with confidence the trust, and establish this trust, this agreement, reliability, truth, ability, and or strength with self, right? This arrangement was made, this trustee, and I became the property holder, right? The holder, the owner of self, by knowing I, God, present, right? And being aware of the beneficiaries, who God is being right? Leading me to the credit line, right? Leading me to the credit line. Firm trust established. Nothing outside of self has been addressed, which is why self-assurance is where we're at, and where and why when they ask, do I have insurance? My answer is yes. Who insures self? Responsible I am, right? So this is claiming the responsibility of self, my outer property, so that they know that I, self, this body God holds, who's the holder within me, you understand? I'm the insured. Okay? So self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of your own ability or qualities. So the insurance comes from, you say, where does your insurance come from? How do you remain self-responsible? It's the appreciation of my own ability and my own qualities. Okay? So there's a lot that comes with faith. There's a lot that comes with trust. There's a lot that it takes to create this firm connection, right? There's a lot of inner work. It can't be faked, okay? So appreciation is the recognizing the recognition of that, and to actually enjoy taking responsibility of being God, the responsibility of being self-responsible, the responsibility of trusting in thyself, of having faith in thyself, of showing faith by being God himself, herself, I-self. You understand? So a full understanding of the situation is given in knowing. So now in faith, I came to know. I came to have full understanding, right? I came to have perspective, says Spirit. Perspective. Faith gives me perspective. Faith gives me the ability to see. People ask me, Savvy, how do you see? How are your gifts like that? Faith. Faith. Nothing outside faith. That's the inner me. Okay? And from there, I hear my trust is, I trust in change. I trust in change. My trust is in change. So not only do I trust in change, but my trust is in change, right? And it was funny when I was hearing the word change, because I actually hear and see coins, right? Coins. So when I'm doing this self-studies, I also have to see the outer view and apply it within self to gain the wholeness of it, right? And the ability to see, the ability to gain perspective gives me the ability to substitute. Now, it's interesting when we got to the word substitute, because that's a whole download within itself, because, you know, when you really get into it, you don't want to have any false idols. You don't want to honor falsely, right? And anything that you show honor to outside of that, which is the faith in what we speak of and we've identified, and if you understand and you've been able to keep up, then you know who and what I speak of. Then you know that there is no substitute, but a substitute is going to be addressed, because that's the split and that's the flip. And that's the duality of it all. And that's our free will given, because it wasn't about, duality is not a bad thing. Polarity is not a bad thing. Positive and negative, up and down, you know, this and that or this, those opposing, so those are teachers. Those work in harmony. And although different degrees, creating different resistance, creating different oppressions, creating different oppositions, creating different levels of tension, creating different levels of response, creating different levels of cause and effect, creating different outcomes. You understand? Creator, the creating is the common factor. The creator is I that I speak of, faith. What has your faith created is another question. And meditating on and in faith, what has your faith been the creator of? And that's the question I'm going to write down for myself. What has my faith been the creator of? So, the ability to substitute, that's where a lot of people have to make correction. Because we have to also understand that we were not taught and put in a place of positions as melanated, carbonated God beings. We were not taught to give self credit. So self-assurance has not been present, not within us, no. And faith has been lacking because there are requirements in order for faith to exist. And existence takes place within. So faith is not something outside of you. Faith is actually something within you. Faith is something that shows itself because you choose to be present. Faith is a choice. And the choice begins at the free will to substitute because you have acknowledgement of the dualities, whether you have application to be able to understand the ins and outs, the flips of it all, because the mirrors, water, transparency, translucent is so, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, but okay. Anyway, actually, I mean, it's the present conversation because truth be told, it's currency. Currency, going back to coin, right? Coin, currency. This is all about the money. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. The Benjamins were the people. That group. That organization. Okay? So the organization is the establishment. The organization is your business. The organization is the body. The organization is thyself. Who's the holder of thyself? That's the faith that we speak on. So the currency, the water, the energy, the investment, the awareness has to be placed there and hold your coins. Hold your coins, right? Shake them in your hand. Become aware, right? And that awareness in my meditation, I'm just sharing again with you guys. We're 30 minutes into my meditation of faith. This is where it took me to variables. And what are variables? Variables are elements, right? Again, substitutions. And the only substitutions within me, which none can be substitute, all acknowledged, but again, in harmony, in purpose, and in truth, and reflection. Earth, fire, water, and air, elements, variables. Those are the things within me, right? And coin, currency, that goes back to change, right? Change is the only that I trusted. Put that shit in your pocket. You can count on that. Just like I can count on self-insured, assured I am due to confidence, trust. That is faith. Faith I am. I am a teacher of faith. And in meditating on all that I am, meditating on faith, it was my pleasure to share with you these visions of self and to be able to outline it and create this presentation. For all of you members to be present, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. And if you have any questions or anything that you want to share as you meditate, reflect, and review self, please don't hesitate. SavvyRoses44.com, SavvyRoses44@gmail.com, Cash App, SavvyRoses44. I thank you for all love donations. Please share this, add, and ask people if they would like to become a part of the Savvy Soul Tribe, where they receive their own individual, one-on-one spiritual conversations, Savvy Soul confirmations on a week-to-week basis, and they become a part of the collective, right? So we're going to be ending this, wrapping this up at the 30-minute mark, but variables, elements, and inner self I addressed 4, right? Earth, water, fire, and air. Those are the substitutes. And even in substitute, all inclusive, creating the whole. So I can't not acknowledge all states without not acknowledging thy whole self. Currency, energy, the coin. I am the coin. I am the pentacle. So when you guys are getting into tarots, for you that are studying tarots, when you are asking Savvy, if you were to give me any tarot suggestions, y'all know I don't study tarot in that way. But I will say to you now that if and when you do study and how you develop within your studies, if Savvy ever shared with you one teaching, I see and hear now that it would be that pentacles, the coin, represents you. You understand? And so if you're looking at more than one pentacle, that would be more than one you, is what I'm seeing here now. That's something for me to review within self as well. Okay? So in closing, the faith inner you is the faith, is to face the outer you. I'm going to repeat that to you again, okay? Because this is a Sabiel quote, all rights reserved. The faith inner you is the faith, is to face the outer you. Sabiel, all rights reserved. Your questions for review, please email them to me, SavvyRoses44@gmail.com. For all members, I love your participation. I love your input. I love your reflection. Thank you, reflection, again for being present. Who is the administrator of your organization? The administrator of your body. The administrator of your outer self. The inner self is the owner. So who is I? Who is the administrator? Identify for self. Review, reflect, write it down. Don't forget time and date, right? 2 or more, the dualities we just addressed. Know that that is the official stamp. There has to be a witness. When spirit is present, there is a witness present. So when 2 or more are gathered, the 2 or more, boom, right? That creates the official stamp. The official stamp is also a symbolic of money. Money, in order for a coin to be marked as a coin, they have an official stamp, okay? So coins, I just posted a reading and I mentioned coins. They gonna mean something. Collect your coins, gather your coins, pay attention to coins. Hold them, meditate on coin. Define coin for self, okay? Because there's something there. And as I see and review more in that, it talked about inventing or device. Invent or device. Leave real estate to someone by the terms of a will. A clause in a will leaving something, especially real estate, to someone. Okay, so that could be a message for someone. That could be somebody could be interested in real estate. I'm not sure, but these go into trust, property. Okay, and while we're looking at faith, while we're looking at these self-definitions, perspective of self, faith gives me perspective, the ability to see. So, real estate. Okay? How do I know when something is true? How do I know when something is true? Last question. What has my faith been the creator of? What has my faith been the creator of? I thank you all again for being present. This is Savvy Soul Studies. We're looking at faith, meditating on faith. I want you guys again to journal, put down your time, put down your dates, review, reflect, see resources, outer you, translate, inner you, write that shit down, document and reflect, and see for thyself. Okay? This is all about self-insurance, assurance. Okay? We're creating this here right now. Take responsibility and accountability for this present here moment. I thank each and every single one of you for being present. I again invite you guys, if you're not already a member, ask questions on becoming a member. DMs welcome. If you have any questions, please reach out, share this. SavvyRoses44.com, SavvyRoses44 for the Cash App. All donations in love appreciated. Okay, SavvyRoses44@gmail.com for any communications outside from there. Peace and love to you, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night. It is February 22nd, 2022. Y'all enjoy this portal, okay? Faith. Faith. Walk by faith. That is your sight. Peace and love.